Hey everyone, we are at the original Davenport Machine Shed and we're talking pickles. And so the reason we are talking pickles obviously is we do a lot of farm to table at our machine shed restaurants. Every machine shed's a little different. The ability to be able to do larger or bigger gardens and the things that they carry in them is also going to be different according to what they're planning. But one of the things we're messing with at the Davenport Machine Shed is pickles. And when I say pickles, I mean good, really dill pickles. And so when you come into the Davenport Machine Shed, we're going to be messing with these from time to time. You might come in one day and have a sandwich and our pickles will be served with it. It might not be every time, but I want to make sure that when you do come in, and that's with any of our machine sheds, we're going to be maybe doing these pickles from time to time. So we're doing this recipe so that you at home can also do this. It's a real quick and easy one, and so there's not really a lot of, it's not a lot of thinking in this. So, and there's a ton of recipes out there. This happens to be one that we have come upon and like. So that, and we're going to talk a little bit also about different pickles, I guess, if you want to say. There's also, when it comes to pickles, there's different times that you will harvest them. This is a small pickle that is kind of harvested for pickling. You can take and you can quarter these up, and these make nice dill pickle spears, which are great, and Bloody Marys that we serve here at the Machine Shed. But then you also have, this is a full-grown size pickle that's just a cucumber, that's just in any garden that you'll find around across the Midwest. And then there's what I call burpless cucumbers. So this is a seedless cucumber that the seeds are a little smaller. So I guess it just kind of depends on what you like. I kind of like a little smaller seed in my cucumbers, so I tend to like the seedless cucumbers. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get going on this recipe, and then we're going to talk a little bit about pickling. All right? So what we're going to do, we're going to turn on our big pot here because we've got a lot of liquids that are going to come in this. And the thing you got to remember is when you're doing these pickles, that you got to have water in these. I tried a batch that I just did vinegar, just tried to mess around with it a little bit, and I just did vinegar in them, and they were way too sour. So you got to have this water in here to kind of neutralize that acid that you're going to have in there. So what we have is we have about 2 cups of white vinegar, and we're going to have 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. Now, again, why? Why is because you got that white vinegar has got that pungentness, but that apple cider vinegar has a little more sweetness to it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to balance those two out. So we've got 2 and 2 in there to start with. All right, then we're going to go ahead and add in our water. And what we've got for water is we've got 5 cups of water. Okay, so we're really almost diluting that by almost half again, okay? So remember, we got to have fun with this a little bit. So we want to, if you want to spice these up a little bit, what I mean by spicing up, once this gets going, if you want to up we've got some, some chili peppers in here. If you want to up that, if you want to throw in a whole serrano pepper and a jalapenos or whatever you want to do it. If you like hot, you make it hot. All right, so in our big pot here, we've got both of our vinegars and our water, and it's come to a boil. And as you can see, we just want to get that roaring a little bit. Then we're going to add in not only some things that are going to make the pickles pickles, but we're also going to add some little things that me as a farm boy was taught by my mother when she was making pickles. So we're going to give you some of those helpful hints, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with salt. We've got 1 cup of salt that we're going to add to this, okay? We're going to put that right in there. And then we've got 1/2 cup of coarsely chopped garlic, okay? And we're going to put that in there also. So we've got our garlic in there, and then we've got our salt. So what you're going to want to do at this time is just let it keep boiling. But then we're going to get it off the boil after we get going. We got some red pepper flakes, 1 tablespoon of red pepper flakes. Again, remember what I said earlier. If you want it hotter, make it hot, okay? Now we've got some things that we like to say that maybe are little secrets. We've got some mustard seed that we threw in there. The mustard seed gives it a little bit of tang, a little bit of that mustard flavor that I like in a good pickle. Okay? Now we've got some dried dill seed. And dill is one of those ones that you can grow outside. fresh dill this is what it looks like when it comes to you, okay? If you grow it outside, this is what you'll harvest. Now, the dill seed that I just put in there is when this has blossomed and became a flower, then what you do is you snip the tops of those and then you dry that, and then that is what the dill seed is. So we're going to add not only the dill seed that we added, but we're going to add some of that fresh dill, and we've got probably about 2 cups of fresh dill that we're going to add into there. Now, we're going to turn this off, okay? Because we really don't want to boil that dill. We just want that to go ahead. It's going to cook anyway, and these are going to sit for roughly 7 to 10 days. So it's going to be okay. We're going to get that flavor in there. Now, this is the one that my mother always used to tell me. This is alum, and you can get it. Alum helps keep a nice crisp pickle, okay? So we're going to add that alum, and all I did there was about a half of a teaspoon, okay? You don't want a bunch in there. It's just going to crisp up that pickle a little bit, okay? So we're going to let that go. Now, what we're going to do here then is we're going to quarter the rest of these little pickling cucumbers, and I'm just going to quarter these into spears. I've already got quite a few of them done here. So we're just going to add these other ones into this. And if you wanted to, you could leave these even whole. Now, if you leave them whole, you're going to want to let these sit in your pickling concoction here for roughly about 2 weeks. And the reason is obviously you've got to permanate that whole pickle, and that's going to take a little bit more time. So we've got these pickles in here. Now what I also have done is I've taken our burpless cucumber and I've made some slices. So we're going to also add these. So we're going to have a little variety here, okay? And again, all I did was just took a knife to these. There's going to be some uniformity. There's going to be some that are a little thicker, some that are a little thinner. So you just could go ahead and just chop them up as you see. Okay? Now we're going to go ahead and take our liquid and all of those spices that we put into here, and we're going to pour this right on top of our pickles. And as you can see, they're going to be covered. They're going to really start looking a little bit almost like they're cooking, but they aren't. All they're going to do is just start kind of getting that crispness. They're going to start permeating that. Now we want to go in the refrigerator for roughly around 7 to 10 days. Longer is not going to hurt. So it's not a big deal. You can just go right in the refrigerator with these, cover them. You can put them in, so if you've got some of the jars that maybe pickles were in, you can put them into that, put them in the fridge. You can use them in a bowl, whatever works. Just cover them, let them sit. Now, I'm kind of one of those people that like to taste them at times to time. So maybe about 3 or 4 days in, I'm going to taste these, make sure that they've got some really good flavor, in which they will. In about 3 or 4 days, they'll start getting some flavors. But if you can, try to stay out of them to really eat them on a really good sandwich for about 7 to 10 days. Good pickling. Hey everyone, we're back at the original Iowa Machine Shed in Davenport, Iowa, and we're talking pickles. And so, we just put together a pretty simple pickle recipe. And, I don't know about you, but I'm a pork tenderloin lover. And our pork tenderloins are one of the best. So if you're doing a pork tenderloin at the Machine Shed restaurant and you're doing pickles, and if we happen to have some homemade pickles that week, then that's going to be a pretty darn good sandwich. So come to the Machine Shed, have a pork tenderloin.